All right. So good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to see all of you all here. All right. So today we're going to look at PVH healing protocol. So PVH is such a beautiful um, a thing because the thing is, right, we've got a powerful wand and we have a set of affirmations that actually helps us in overcoming many of the challenges along, not only for students and also for parents, for our daily lives. So once we know how to use it, right, it's actually a miraculous thing that we can have it as it's a bonus, for us. So I always tell my children, like, you have PVH, your friends do not have. So, that's the bonus part. So use it wisely to overcome your challenges, especially when you sit for exams and all that. Yeah. So now, exam period. So we have couple of exams going on now. So exam stress. Yeah. Sometimes the children are stressed with exams and so are the parents. So they do not know what to do and how to help them. So here we are today. Let's see how we can help everyone. And, from this, then we can always take in questions later on at the end of the session. So just note it down so that there won't be interruptions in between because we are also recording. So other people can watch later on as well. Yeah. Okay. What is exam stress? Right? People always talk about stress. So what is exam stress, right? So exam stress is the worry or tension you feel before your exam, right? A test or an exam. It's normal to feel that way. Even for a job interview or anything, people do feel nervous to talk in front of a large crowd and all that, right? So is exams, right? So I remember when I was a child, yeah, exams, because the basically why we feel so stressed is also because we want to do well, right? So when you have the expectations that you want to do well, sometimes that sort of like hinders the progress as well. So it's important that you study and do your best, give your best shot. If you have done your best, you need not worry about the end results. If you had been playing along, and that's when you have to worry about the end results, right? I always tell my students this, like, if you have been working really hard, then there's no need to worry because you've given your best shot and everybody will be able to accept that whatever that happens along the way. But if you had not been doing your best, playing around and, fooling around and not doing consistent work and all that, then the regret will always be there, right? A little stress can actually be helpful, right? Because it helps you to push you to prepare and do your best, right? So a little stress is good. Most of the time, I think when we are stressed a little, we come up with greater ideas. We work out things and do work around, to find a better solution and all that. So yeah, okay. Now, is exam stress good or bad? Yeah, it can be good and bad. Exam stress can be both helpful and harmful. Overly stressed, it can actually sort of like cause a breakdown or a blank out during an exam, like you can't remember what. So excessive stress is not good, right? But a little stress helps you to trigger so that your adrenaline and all that. So it helps to answer the questions and things like that. So I always tell my students, don't leave anything blank. If you find that something that you are stuck, it's okay. Just circle it, go and do all the rest. Okay, do all the rest, complete it, and then come back to the questions that you have left it blank. Because our brain works in such a way, if you look at a problem, it becomes a bigger problem. You will never find a solution. But if you move on and do all those that you can do first, somehow your brain becomes more relaxed because you're able to do more of the questions, and then somehow later on when you go back, hey, this is so simple, it will somehow the solution will fall in place. Instead of staring at something for too long, you also waste time, then you cannot complete the paper. And if not, it's like you become so stressed that you become unable to do the rest of the question. Because of one question and one mark, you're going to lose your 20 over questions over there, right? So it's not worth it. So always manage the paper well. And that's what we always tell the kids, right? So, but too much of stress can also cause problems like headaches, trouble focusing, feeling tired, doing poorly on exams, and even anxiety or depression. I remember when my boy was doing his O levels, he'll wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and then he'll have stomach ache. Then I have to he'll wake me up and then I have to heal his stomach because usually anxiety, like, of doing well and all that. So he will add this extra pressure on himself and then this will cause stomach ache and all that. So the important thing is to keep your stress at a healthy level. So it helps you, but not hurt you. right? So there are certain factors that causes exam stress as well. High academic expectation. The child themselves have put a kind of like a goal. They want to do well, which is good, right? Because they have goals that they want to do well. But having too much of an expectation and feeling too stressed, it actually backfires. Yeah, it actually backfires. So it's important to manage your expectations, right? And then do your best in the exams. Insufficient time to prepare also causes stress. Fear of failure. Some children are naturally scared of failing a particular subject or things like that. Time management issue. Some spend too much of time because they lack practice, right? Normally, we always give students time practice papers, right? They have to finish within 50 minutes. If it's a composition, they have to write within 15 minutes. Or if it's like a full paper, like a science or whatsoever, then it's 1 hour, 45 minutes. They have to finish booklet A and B within those given time, stipulated time, right? Because no extra time will be given. So management of time. So sometimes they fail to complete the paper because they spend too much time in a particular question or in a particular section. Okay, which cause them to lose marks in the other section. Comparison with peers. They love to compare with themselves with their friend. Yeah, how come my friend is doing better than me? We both study together at the same time. How come he can do better or she can do better, and why I can't? So all these unwanted thoughts and thought form that blocks the child from doing the best as well. Okay, so it happens, right? So the which part of the brain causes the exam stress and anxiety, we'll be looking at it later. So basically, it's always the limbic system, the hypothalamus and amygdala. Amygdala is the one that perceives exam as a threat and trigger the fight or the flight stress. So usually these are the ones that actually causes the so that's why we also in with having a wonderful wand, right? We can heal our limbic system and amygdala and then our hypothalamus, all these things, so that as parents we can help our children by healing them. As children, we can help them guide certain things because they're already stressed with the exams, right? And parents adding on more stress to it, it's not going to really help. So yeah, so sometimes it's important that we manage our expectations on the child. Sometimes, if you want to, the parents can always give it a shot. Print two exam papers. You do one and they do one. Somehow they can do better than you, yeah. Because so exams are getting harder these days. So and the children these days have extra stress and unwanted distractions compared to our time. I think my time was only television. And that also, my mother is like very particular. Exam time, I don't think I even got to watch any. I'm banned from Tamil pictures actually. My mother doesn't even allow me to watch all any of those. I think only when I hit secondary school after my O levels, perhaps. Then yeah, she was a bit yeah, because A levels was very stressful, so she was a bit more relaxed at that time, I think. So yeah, then she let us watch off and on. But otherwise, yeah, we watched cartoons, yeah, but there wasn't a handphone, right? So we didn't have handphone, we didn't have social media, we didn't have all these extra distractions that the children these days have. Right? So we need to look at that point of view. It is not easy being a child these days because of the era that we are in and peer pressure that they have. It's kind of hard for them, right? So as parents, we need to understand what they are going through as well. So next week, we will have a parenting workshop where we will actually talk about how we can actually help our kids as well. Yeah, today we talk about children and how we can help them. But next week we will have one for parents. Okay, people who join in, please mute yourself when you come in because I'm recording. Yeah, and so that your voices are not heard during the recording. Thank you so much. Okay, sorry. All right. So yeah. Okay, now we also want to look at things like a growth mindset, right? Accomplish big things with a growth mindset. We must have inculcate this idea of growth mindset to our children. Instead of thinking, they say, oh, I can't do it, but you can think this way. I'm still learning. I'll keep trying. So that's more positive in outlook, right? So your brain will perceive that, okay, I want to learn, but I'll try. Instead of saying, I can't do it, then you've already put a full stop. Then your brain will say, okay, fine. You have put this mental block on yourself that you're not going to learn. Okay. And if you say, I'm not good at this, so then how you can think otherwise, like what can I learn to get better at this? Right? It's not good enough. Is this the best I can do? Right? Sometimes the children, with a little bit of nudging and a little bit of a little push, they can actually stretch further. Right? So sometimes they do look at things that they can't do something. Maybe it's too difficult at the beginning, but it is not in the end, right? They can always try and then work around other things, other ways, and they can find a solution. Okay, it's too hard. If they say with more practice, it will get easier. Nothing is too hard. I remember my mother will say, nothing is too hard. Just put a bit of water, it'll become soft. I will be like wondering, like, yeah, right? It'll be easy to say, yeah, but not so it's not easy to practice. But she's got a point, right? With more practice, it will get easier, right? Instead of putting a stop, saying that, no, this is too hard, I give up, that kind of thing, then you're not even trying. I'm afraid of making a mistake. I always tell my students, must make mistake. When you make mistakes, that's when you learn. That's when you are trying, right? If you say, I'm afraid of making mistake, I cannot make mistake, then you will never learn, right? From mistakes, we grow. From mistakes, we learn. From mistakes, we learn even further to overcome certain things. So mistakes are how I learn and I get better. So the children must have this mindset. And parents, we have to actually, you know, put this idea in them. Okay, I don't know how, I can learn how. Okay, don't say I don't know, I don't know. I don't like this word at all. So always when the children say I don't know, I say I don't like this vocabulary in your mind. Can you throw that out? And then try thinking other ways. Okay, I will try, I can learn, that kind of thing. If you say don't know, that's a full stop. Right? But if you try, you can find other ways to make things easier. I can't make this any better, but I can always find ways to improve. Right? So change your words, you change your mind. You change your thoughts, you get improvement in your end results. Okay, I don't like challenges, but challenges make me better. Right? Yeah, it's a bit of challenges is good because it's a push for you to even stretch further and to actually make you realize your potential. You're more than what you are. Right? It is we who put a stop to our learning. No matter how old you are, you can always learn. That's why PVH diploma is so beautiful because it doesn't matter how old you are, but there it gives you an opportunity to learn. And with this learning process, it's good for your mind. It makes you think other ways to learn things differently, right? And it helps, right? So instead of saying I give up, I'll try a different way. Yeah. So there's always a growth mindset. And it's very important that no matter how old we are, we must always have this growth mindset because that's when we can grow instead of putting any stops to our own accomplishments. Okay. And also PVH for learning resilience, right? With our diploma, you can see some people who have actually failed, but actually have achieved even better results when they have tried, right? If they had just given up, they would never know their potential. Someone who is not able to read, not able to understand, but yet they can pass the exams, which is it's a good mindset for the person to actually try without stopping. And of course we have other PVH teachers like Palani and all that to give a little nudge and a helping hand to make these people understand better. So you see, all these plays a part. When I was at uni, I had a classmate. Yeah, so-called classmate. Yeah, she was about 70s when I was only 18, I think, 18 or 19. When I had a 70-year-old lady who was in the same class as me. I was like amazed because like I was studying in Australia, and I was amazed, like, wow, she was vibrant, despite the fact that she was the oldest in the class, but she was always making something and the other and bringing to the class, making a cake or something, and it's very interesting. So she started late because she wanted to ensure that her children pass the exams and complete their, she has done her part of her duty, and then she decided to study and all that. So you see, so there's no age limit to learn, right? Anytime, if as long as you want to learn, that's when there's a will, there's a way. All right. So I'm successful in having a growth mindset because all things are difficult before they are easy. Yeah, at first it looks difficult, but then if you keep trying, it becomes easy, right? Sometimes cooking is hard, but after you try, it becomes easy, right? There's a difference between not knowing and not knowing yet, right? Not knowing and you don't want to find out, then it's not a growth mindset. Yeah. But not knowing yet, but I will find out and I'll know it, that is a growth mindset. So believe you can, and you're halfway there, right? It's everything begins in the mind. If you think you can do it, you can.